Welcome to the Aquarius Theory. In today's video, we're going to be going over the 7 Hermetic Principles, said to have been founded by Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes, which is the Greek version of the Egyptian god Thoth, or Tahuti, is the god of writing and learning, the creator of languages, the interpreter, and the advisor of the gods. Thoth gives us valuable information that we can use as references, that I will use as references throughout the entirety of the Aquarius Theory. Now, a book to reference is The Kabbalion by the Three Initiatives. They go over these 7 Hermetic Principles I'm going over with you today. And the 7 Hermetic Principles goes as follows: the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. The first principle, the principle of mentalism, states that everything is mind, the universe is mental, which explains that everything that we consider reality are all aspects of our mind. In the first video, I stated how perception is reality. That is a form of mentalism, which is powerful if you keep in mind that before any action takes place, a thought must first occur. Second, we have the principle of correspondence, where we get the famous saying, as above, so below. As below, so above. Correspondence is actually a close similarity, connection, or equivalence. From that, we can correlate that the principle of correspondence is a concept that deals with the understanding that everything in the universe is connected, that we all share a similarity. What is happening here on Earth could be happening on other planes of existence. Next, we have the principle of vibration, which states that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. I believe this principle is a little easier to understand in the modern age now that we have science. And this concept deals with the idea that nothing in reality sits still. Everything is moving, everything vibrates. Trees, rocks, everything that we perceive as sitting still is just vibrating at a slower rate. And we know this again through science and the periodic table of elements. And these elements all have atoms which move. The principle of polarity states that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites, like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. This concept deals with the ideology that everything has poles. Everything has its opposites, like and unlike, up and down, hot, cold, fast, slow, good, evil. You see, they're all the same in nature, but they differ in degree. And so all truths are but half-truths. Why? Because unless you deal with both sides of the poles, you can't get a full, proper perspective. Next, we have the principle of rhythm. It states that everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. This principle deals with the concept that everything has a natural flow. An example of this given by the Three Initiates in the book The Kabbalion. They speak about how the great masters will put themselves in a state of being neutral, per se, and that they won't allow themselves to get too high in the good times or too low in the bad times. Next, we have the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. This principle deals with the concept for every action there is an equal an opposite reaction. That for every decision you make, there is consequences. Now, those consequences can be good or bad, but understand that for every decision you make, there is something that's going to come from that decision. The last principle is the principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. The key to remember with this principle is to not think about it as a physiological, but to view it more as a energetic principle. Everything has masculine and feminine qualities or energies. And to give an example of this, let's look at our brain. We have two parts of our brain, the left side and the right side. The left side is known as your conscious mind. The right side is known as the subconscious. The left side deals with reason, logic, reality, strategy, while your right side deals with creativity, intuition, imagination. So you see, both sides are important. Both sides are needed. But one deals with the more masculine aspect, whereas the other deals with the feminine. Now to give my own personal interpretation on the 7 Hermetic Principles. And to do that, we must start at the top with the principle of mentalism, stating that everything is mind, the universe is mental. As I stated before, perception is reality. But let's take ourselves out of the equation and look at it from a universal standpoint. We know that in the beginning there was nothing, and from that nothing was a word. Now let's imagine that word actually being a thought from a universal mind. And from this mind, all things are created. Now that will give us a central point or singularity in which our reality exists, which would deal with the principle of correspondence, as above, so below. Understand that this thought gave off creation through vibration. And we know this because, as we stated earlier, everything moves, everything has a vibration. And if this universal mind wanted to learn or understand, then it must set up boundaries. And these boundaries were what we would consider poles. Extremes of the same nature. Up and down, hot and cold, good and evil. And between those poles is a constant flow, a rhythm. So we know through our own personal experiences that we go through ups and downs, good times and bad times, and that through this flow, if you can learn your own rhythm, you can then begin to pace your life accordingly, which will manifest itself through cause and effect, because by taking an action, you will then gain the proper reaction. Which takes us to the most important principle of today's time, which is the principle of gender. Knowing that gender is in everything and everything has its masculine and feminine principles or energies, as I stated earlier. This principle is important in today's time because we are seeing all over social media and everywhere else where we are pitting the man against the woman, when in totality, we are all the same because we both house feminine and masculine energy. The key to happiness in terms of a relationship is balance. So if you're somebody who's more masculine, you should seek somebody who's more feminine, and vice versa. But do not forget that perception is reality, and the best thing that you can do is to know yourself. And with that being said, that will conclude today's lesson on the 7 Hermetic Principles. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification so when I post videos, you'll know. Until next time, peace, love, and light.